Hey friends, as though things weren't changing fast enough already, on November the 30th, 2022, our world changed forever. On this day, ChatGPT was launched, and up until this day, we only saw kind of glimmers of the true capabilities of AI. You can think of Amazon Alexa, where we could switch lights on and off, or we could put on the television and ask them to show or run or make us hear certain tracks, or the lack thereof. Think Apple Siri. And it's like, let me look this up on the internet for you, right? But then ChatGPT opened up a whole new and exciting world, but also actually equally, it opened up a whole new world of anxiety, overwhelm, and worry and uncertainty. I mean, just look at some of these headlines. So if you're feeling a bit apprehensive about or worried about the future and want to know how to shift your mindset for success in AI in this new and crazy world that we're living in, then this is the video for you. Because in this quick video, we are going to take lessons from history, because whilst history doesn't repeat, it does rhyme. So I want to provide you with 5 key lessons from the past that are going to help you to navigate this new AI world that we live in. We're going to learn from our past to hopefully help you overcome any anxiety and any worry regarding AI so that you can use this new advancement to help you navigate the world and build a better career and future. Ready for the challenge? In the late 1800s, the main mode of transport was the horse and carriage. Now, the motor car was invented by Carl Benz in 1894. 8 years after this, the Times of London wrote this article. Late 18th century cities like London and New York seemed to be drowning in horse manure. In London, where the horse-carried hansom cab occupied streets, 50,000 horses produced 570, wait for it, 570,000 kilograms, that's like 570 tons, of horse manure and 57,000 liters of urine every single day. Now, together with the corpses of dead horses, the urine manure started to poison the city's inhabitants. And here's the crux. In 1894, the Times predicted that in 50 years, every street in London will be buried under, guess how much? 9 feet of manure. And the situation came to be known as the Great Manure Crisis of 1894. Despite fierce debates among urban planners and various studies into the matter, no solution was found for years. This changed when Carl Benz and blah, 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 and others introduced motorized vehicles at a massive scale, and by 1912, the crisis had been resolved. And this has served as a metaphor for overcoming insurmountable problems with unexpected solutions. So here's lesson number 1. So the future is really hard to predict. And so we need to have faith that things are going to work themselves out. They've worked themselves out in the past, and they're going to work themselves out in the future. And the solutions may not always be obvious to us, and we may be projecting false narratives around the future. Right, so whilst we solved the horse poop problem, we've actually created another one. You see, before the invention of the car, obviously we had a thriving horse and carriage industry. Now, some people would be breeding and rearing horses, others would be providing feed for that, others would be creating carriages. Now, some of these carriage manufacturers went on to become car manufacturers, like the Studebaker Corporation. But nearly all of the carriage makers were put out of business. They just weren't able to make the transition. Now, let's look at another example. In 1900s, what would happen is you'd have dad and son, and they would go out and they would go to these ice lakes and they would harvest ice and they would sell it. And that was how they would make their living. Now, fast forward 20 years, you could think of that as ICE 1.0. But fast forward 20 years, and you had the advent of the ice factory. So here now, it was a bit more efficient because you had these ice factories and they could churn out ice more efficiently. So that resulted in the end of ICE 1.0. Fast forward another 20 years, and then we had the advent of the refrigerator in the house. And here's the interesting point, though. The interesting point is that not a single ice harvester was able to make the transition to the ice factory, and not a single ice factory was able to make the transition to the refrigerating business. And the problem was that they were just so focused on the process that they had become used to that they had forgot what the outcome that they were trying to achieve, which was to cool the food and to provide ice for drinks, etc. So lesson number 2 for all of us is we must not be really careful not to define ourselves by our business process, but rather by the outcome that we're trying to achieve for the customer. Otherwise, we are all toast. Right, this brings us on to the third lesson and the impact of AI. Because will it impact all industries in the same way? No. For example, if you're a plumber, you're probably good for a while. But remember, even manual industries are not completely impact-free. I mean, I spent a portion of my time launching Agile release trains. I saw my client, I saw this transition before my very eyes. They had, first of all, they used to have multiple cleaners coming into our building, and now they just had a few cleaners coming in with an army of vacuum cleaner robots. So every industry, without exception, is impacted in different ways, because AI is a more fundamental shift, right? It's something that's so pervasive, and it won't just impact a single industry. It's going to rapidly and radically change all the industries. And from that perspective, we're all in that together. There's a very strange comfort in that. It's a great leveler, very similar to COVID, where it didn't discriminate. I feel that this transition is more transformational shift, like electricity or telephone or the internet, because it impacts all the industries. And here comes on to the third lesson. Look, you survived COVID, and when that was a life and a death situation, and you're going to survive this too. But you need to control your mindset, maintain your enthusiasm, because this is a marathon and this is not a sprint. But how do you do this? How do you shift from worrying about the future to getting really excited about the future? And if you're prone to nervousness or worry about the future, we need to take a leaf out of Jim Rohn's book. Because what he said is you have to stand guard at the doors of your mind. Now we have to stand guard at the doors of our mobile phones, our internet, our news feed, and Lord knows what's else, right? And you were constantly bombarded with negative images. The world's about to end. You're going to lose your job. Click here, otherwise there's no hope for you. So we need to protect ourselves from all of this negative input that comes into us. We have a full generation of people who are full of anxiety. And the reason is because there's an industry that is literally feeding and making money off this fear. So we need to be really careful about that. We need to shift from worrying about the future to asking ourselves, how can we be more excited about that? How can I learn as much as I can about AI? How can I make this transition? How many hours do I need to put in every day to master this area? How much confidence will it give me once I've started to put the hours and the effort into this area? What kind of productivity edge is this going to give me? How much free time is this going to free up? What should I learn, in what order, and what's my roadmap? And how are you going to participate in this new era? What does it mean for you and your future? And so we need to ask ourselves the right questions. And this brings us on to lesson number 4, and that is to shift from worry to excitement about the future. We need to adopt a growth and learning mindset. We need to be like an explorer on an exciting adventure, and we need to put in the hours because there is no substitute for hard work and effort. Okay, right, now this brings us on to the next point. Now, in the olden days, we used to build houses with hand tools, and you'd almost need an army of people to build a house or an office building. And now we have electric power tools, and now more recently we have battery power tools to help us get things done more quickly. Now, do the tools build your house? Obviously no, right? You still need a carpenter, you still need a plumber, you still need a bricklayer. Do each of these new tools help them though? And the answer is absolutely, of course. So the wise quickly learn how to use these tools so that they could be effective in the new age, and looked at this as a useful skill to help become more effective. So the carpenter's not competing against the jigsaw or the router. He's competing against the human who knows how to use the jigsaw and the router. And in a similar way, you're not competing against AI, rather you're competing against humans who know how to use AI. So lesson number 5 And our final lesson is AI is a tool. It's not a replacement. You're not competing against machines. You are competing against other humans who know how to use these machines efficiently and effectively. And so in summary, look, the future's always been uncertain. It always has been and always will be. Now, looking at history, the only solution to be successful is to focus on learning and growing and embracing rather than resisting that change, and being the most knowledgeable person in the room through intelligent, focused, and disciplined, but sustainable hard work. And once you are, you then need to find the next room and become the most knowledgeable person in that room. And notice I don't say the smartest, because your IQ and smarts are not in your hand, but hard work and effort is. So we need to reframe this period in time from one of worry to one of excitement, and reframe this moment to an exciting adventure. We need good, honest people who are going to use AI for good, right? Not for evil or for war or to build a kind of Terminator-like future for us, which is the alternative, right? So we need to use AI as a blessing for humanity and for all of us. And we can do this by using AI to support and help humanity, to cure disease, to help solve big problems, not to destroy it. And that's why we need you. The second law of thermodynamics is that everything in the universe left alone moves towards entropy and chaos. And to bring order, we need to apply focus and effort. And in the absence of effort, weeds are going to grow. So by starting to shift our mindset, we can create and believe that this is that exciting adventure. Now, this video is the first in a series of videos on AI. We'll be looking at our history over the past 200 years of the Industrial Revolution, and we'll take lessons from the past and apply them to the future. We're going to glean those lessons, and we're going to see which ones of those can apply today so that we can navigate the shift coming forwards with this new type of intelligence, this alien intelligence. So I'm really excited that I'm on this incredible learning journey. Please join me, and together we're going to explore the AI landscape, understand the tools, and evaluate them together. I'm going to take the hundreds of hours that I'm spending in learning, exploring the AI landscape, and condense this so you don't have to spend that much time. You can shortcut your learning, get ahead without the Herculean effort. So if that sounds interesting, then please subscribe so that you get the next video. Take care and God bless.